Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something powerful. When was the last time you felt truly, unshakably, unapologetically joyful? Not just happy for a moment, I mean alive. Joy that radiates from your soul, that fuels you, that makes you unstoppable. If you're sitting here thinking, it's been a while, you're not alone. Most people are waiting for joy. They think it's something that just shows up when life gets better. When they get the job, the money, the relationship, the recognition. They're living in the mindset of someday, but here's the truth: joy is not something you find, it's something you create. Joy is a decision, a muscle, a discipline, and if you don't train it, life will train it out of you. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a sculptor looking at a massive block of marble. To the average person, it's just a rock, but to the sculptor, it's potential. Hidden inside that rough stone is a masterpiece, a David, a Venus, a creation of power and beauty. Your joy is that masterpiece, but nobody's going to carve it for you. You've got to pick up the chisel. 1. Joy is built, not borrowed. We're living in a world obsessed with shortcuts. Scroll a little, laugh a little, click a little dopamine. But that's borrowed joy. It's a rental, and rentals always come with a cost. You want real joy, you have to earn it. You build it by aligning your life with your values, by doing what challenges you, what grows you. You build it by keeping promises to yourself. You want joy, start with integrity, not the kind you talk about when others are watching, the kind you practice when no one is. Wake up and say, today, I'm going to lead myself. That's the foundation of lasting joy. 2. Trade expectations for appreciation. How many of us are suffering not because life is hard, but because we expected it to be easier. You expected them to call, they didn't. You expected to win, you didn't. You expected smooth roads, life gave you mountains. Here's the shift. Expectations create frustration. Appreciation creates elevation. When you focus on what's missing, you feel empty. When you focus on what's present, you feel powerful. Right now, take a deep breath and feel that gift. You're alive, your heart is beating, you have today. That's not nothing, that's everything. Don't wait for perfect. Celebrate progress. Celebrate presence. Joy is not in the destination, it's in the dance. 3. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your joy. Most people are asking the wrong questions. Why is this happening to me? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? Wrong questions create weak emotions. Try these instead. What's great about this moment? How can I use this pain to grow? Who can I serve today? Your brain is a heat-seeking missile. Ask it better questions, and it will find you better answers. You want more joy, ask for it from yourself. 4. Change your state, change your story. Joy doesn't live in your to-do list. It lives in your state, and here's the secret. Emotion is created by motion. Get up, move, jump, dance, breathe like a warrior, shout if you have to. You're not a robot, you're a volcano of energy waiting to erupt. Change your physiology and your psychology will follow. I've seen people break through decades of depression in moments not because their life changed, but because their energy did. Your story changes when your state changes. Tell yourself a new story. Don't say, I'm tired. Say, I'm rising. Don't say, I can't. Say, I'm learning. This is not denial, this is direction. 5. Joy is service. Listen closely. The fastest way to feel joy is to give it. We live in a me world, but joy lives in a we world. When you lift someone, you rise. When you encourage someone, you glow. When you serve someone, your spirit soars. Call someone and tell them you love them. Help someone who can't repay you. Smile at a stranger like your joy is contagious, because it is. Don't wait to feel joyful to give joy. Give joy and you'll feel it rise in you like a tidal wave. 6. Decide right now to own your joy. We've all had pain, we've all had setbacks, but you don't have to be defined by what's happened to you. Be defined by what you decide. Right now, make the decision. I will not let this world steal my light. I will not wait for the conditions to be perfect to be happy. I will create my joy. I will lead with love. I will rise with energy. I will live with fire. Let me ask you again, when was the last time you felt truly joyful? Now let me ask you a better question. Why not now? Why not today? Why not create it, spark it, live it, stop waiting, start creating? Joy is not found, it's forged. It's a decision, a habit, a way of living. You were born for more than just survival. You were born to radiate, to vibrate at your highest level, to laugh louder, love deeper, and live freer. So get out there and create your joy, because the world doesn't need more people who are fine. It needs people on fire. Joy is not found, it's created. This single idea has the power to completely shift the way you live your life. Most people go through life like emotional beggars, waiting for joy to come to them as if it's a gift someone else is supposed to deliver. They think that once they achieve something, the dream job, perfect relationship, more money, a better body, then they'll finally be happy. But this mindset is a trap, because every time they reach a new milestone, the target moves. The joy they were waiting for slips further out of reach, and they end up chasing an illusion. Joy isn't something that appears when life gets easier. It's something you choose, something you build, something you practice. It's not a feeling that visits you, it's a force you generate. If you're always waiting for external circumstances to change before you feel joyful, you're handing your emotional power to things outside your control. That's a dangerous game, because the moment life doesn't go your way, the moment something falls apart, your joy collapses with it. That's not freedom, that's emotional slavery. The truth is, you can wake up any day and decide to create joy, right now in this moment, regardless of what's happening around you, even when things are hard, even when nothing looks the way you imagined, because joy isn't about perfection, it's about perception. It's about finding meaning in the chaos, light in the darkness, and power in the pain. It's about stepping into each day, not with expectation, but with intention. You create joy through presence. Most people aren't present. They're either stuck in the past, replaying regrets, or lost in the future, fearing what might go wrong. But joy doesn't live in the past or the future, it lives in the now. It lives in the sound of your breath, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the warmth of sunlight on your skin. You don't need a miracle. You just need to notice what's already there. When you stop racing and start appreciating, joy begins to rise. You create joy through gratitude, not the shallow kind where you just say thank you for obvious things, the deep kind where you train your brain to find beauty in the ordinary. You start saying thank you for the struggle because it's shaping you. Thank you for the delay because it's teaching you patience. Thank you for the discomfort because it's building your resilience. Gratitude rewires your mind. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's meaningful, and that shift is where joy begins. You create joy through growth. Stagnation is the enemy of the human spirit. We're wired to expand, to reach, to stretch. When you challenge yourself, when you do something difficult, when you grow, joy follows. Not because growth is easy, but because it's real. You feel alive when you overcome. You feel proud when you push. The journey of becoming something more, that's where fulfillment lives. Not in the comfort zone, but on the edge, on the cliff, in the climb. You create joy through alignment. When your actions reflect your values, when your words match your truth, when your habits match your goals, that's where real peace and real power come from. Joy doesn't come from pretending. It comes from being honest with yourself and courageous enough to live from that truth. It means cutting out what drains you, saying no to what distracts you, and focusing on what fuels your soul. Alignment isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And finally, you create joy through choice. Every single day, life will give you reasons to feel discouraged, but will also give you reasons to feel empowered. Which one you focus on is your decision. That's your superpower, your ability to choose your response, your energy, your attitude. Trade expectations for appreciation. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful mental shifts a human being can make. Expectations are silent thieves. They sneak into your mind and set standards for how life should be, how people should behave, how your plans should unfold, how the world should treat you. And when life doesn't meet those invisible standards, you don't just feel disappointed, you feel robbed, frustrated, even bitter. But here's the catch. Life never agreed to your expectations. People don't always behave the way you imagine. Circumstances don't always line up the way you hope. And the more tightly you hold on to your expectations, the more often you set yourself up to suffer. On the other hand, appreciation is available in every moment, but only if you look for it. It doesn't depend on perfection, on timing, or on other people. It's not a reward, it's a lens. When you appreciate, you shift from lack to abundance, from pressure to presence. You stop looking at what's wrong and start seeing what's right. You stop focusing on what you don't have and begin honoring what you do. And the magic is, the moment you shift into appreciation, your entire emotional state changes. Tension melts, resentment fades, clarity returns, expectations create entitlement. Appreciation creates elevation. When you expect something and don't get it, you feel owed. But when you appreciate something, even the small things feel like a blessing. You begin to realize that nothing is guaranteed, not the people in your life, not your health, not your time. And once you understand the temporary nature of everything, you stop taking things for granted. You start treating the ordinary as extraordinary. That's when life begins to feel rich, not because everything changed, but because you changed. You could be sitting in traffic, angry that you're late because you expected the road to be clear. Or you could be in the same traffic, grateful for the podcast you're finally catching up on, or for the simple fact that you have a car, a destination, and a life to drive toward. The situation is the same. The emotion is different. That's the power of appreciation. It doesn't change what's happening. It changes how you experience what's happening. We often place expectations on others, too. We expect our partner to understand us without words. We expect our friends to show up exactly how we need. We expect our efforts to be recognized, our struggles to be seen, our emotions to be validated. But people are not mind readers, and they're living their own battles. When you replace expectation with appreciation in your relationships, they transform. You stop keeping score. You stop needing others to be perfect in order to feel loved. You begin to see the good, even if it's not everything you hoped for. Appreciation is also the antidote to stress. Most stress isn't caused by events, it's caused by unmet expectations. You expected smooth and got messy. You expected success and got struggle. But when you drop the expectation, the stress drops too. What's left is an open space, a space where you can respond, adapt, and grow. Appreciation doesn't mean you settle. It means you anchor yourself in the now so you can build a better next. It gives you strength, not passivity. You train your brain for appreciation the same way you train a muscle with repetition. Start your mornings not with a list of demands, but a list of gratitudes. End your nights not with frustration over what didn't happen, but with reflection on what did. Speak it, write it, feel it. Even when life is hard, there is always something to honor: a breath, a lesson, a person, a chance. When you live in appreciation, joy doesn't depend on what happens next. It becomes part of who you are now. Emotion is created by motion. That single principle holds the key to unlocking your energy, your passion, and your joy. Most people believe their feelings are just something that happened to them, like weather. They wait for motivation, they wait for confidence, they wait to feel happy, but what they don't realize is that emotion is not just something you feel, it's something you generate. And the fastest way to shift how you feel is to change what you do with your body. Think about it: when someone is sad, you can see it before they even speak. Their shoulders slump, their breathing becomes shallow, their eyes drop, and their movements slow down. The body reflects the emotion. But it works the other way too. The body can create the emotion. Change your posture, your breathing, your gestures, and your energy changes. Stand up tall, breathe deeply, move with purpose, and your brain starts firing in a new direction. Your chemistry responds to your movement. You literally begin to feel different. This is why athletes bounce on their toes before a big moment. This is why performers jump backstage, why speakers use hand gestures, why people dance when they're celebrating. They're not moving because they feel good because they're moving. The motion generates momentum, and momentum creates emotion. When you feel stuck in low energy, low confidence, or low joy, the worst thing you can do is sit still and think about it. Overthinking is the enemy of emotion. You cannot think your way into a better feeling, but you can move your way into one. Take a walk, do push-ups, shake your body, smile even if it feels forced. Put on music and jump around. It may feel ridiculous, but that's because it works. The fastest way to change your mental state is to change your physical state. The way you use your body sends signals to your brain. If you move like someone who's tired, stressed, or defeated, your brain assumes something's wrong and it creates emotions to match. But when you move like someone who's energized, focused, and empowered, your brain follows your lead. It releases endorphins, it lifts your mood, it sharpens your clarity. You don't need a reason to move. You just need the decision to do it. The reason will show up after the state has shifted. This is also true for confidence. Most people think confidence is something you either have or don't, but it's a state, and state is shaped by motion. Walk like you belong, speak like your voice matters, gesture with strength, breathe like you're grounded. Do that consistently, and you start believing it. Confidence isn't something waiting to be found, it's something waiting to be practiced physically. Even your breath is motion. Fast, shallow breaths can trigger anxiety. But slow, deep, controlled breaths can center you instantly. Breath is the remote control of your nervous system, and the best part is it's always with you. You don't need a new environment, a perfect plan, or someone's permission. You just need to take control of what you can control: your movement, your rhythm, your body's energy. When you build a habit of moving intentionally, you train your nervous system to respond with strength. You condition joy. You condition courage. You create an emotional blueprint that you can return to again and again, regardless of what's happening outside you. Because what's happening in you is now under your command. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are one decision, one movement, one breath away from shifting everything. The body leads, the emotion follows. Better questions create better emotions. Your mind is a powerful machine, constantly working to answer the questions you ask it. Most people don't realize that the quality of their lives is shaped by the quality of the questions they consistently ask themselves. If you ask painful, disempowering questions, your brain will find painful, disempowering answers. If you ask strong, uplifting, and purposeful questions, your brain will generate strength, clarity, and momentum. It's not about intelligence, it's about focus, and questions control focus. The problem is that most people have unconscious questions they ask every single day. Questions like, why does this always happen to me? What if I fail? What's wrong with me? Or why can't I catch a break? These questions immediately trigger negative emotions. They make you feel small, stuck, and overwhelmed, not because those emotions are true, but because your brain is obeying the command hidden in the question. When you ask, what's wrong with me, your mind stops seeing what's strong about you. It scans your past for mistakes, limitations, and moments of doubt. It magnifies fear and filters out your wins, and soon your emotions spiral into anxiety or self-doubt, all because of one poor question. But if you shift the question, everything shifts. Ask, what can I learn from this? And your mind starts scanning for wisdom. Ask, what's great about this problem? And your mind starts looking for the hidden advantage. Ask, how can I use this challenge to grow stronger? And your emotions begin to shift from frustration to empowerment. The circumstances might not change, but your state does. Your perception changes. And from that new state, you take better action, which leads to better outcomes. Questions are like mental steering wheels. They turn your mind in a direction either toward your potential or toward your pain. If you constantly ask yourself what's missing, you'll always feel incomplete. But if you ask what's possible, what's working, and what you can do now, you start feeling capable. You start feeling focused. The emotion of the moment is no longer a reaction, it becomes a decision, powered by your choice of question. This is true in the middle of chaos too. In moments where things fall apart, it's tempting to ask why me, or what did I do to deserve this? But those questions don't serve you. They trap you in a loop of blame and helplessness. Instead, choose to ask, what is life trying to teach me? Or what strength is being built in me right now? That one mental pivot can reconnect you to meaning. And meaning is the root of resilience. Questions also impact relationships. If you constantly ask, why doesn't this person understand me? You'll find evidence that they don't. But if you ask, how can I communicate better? Or what can I appreciate about them right now? The emotional tone changes. You shift from criticism to curiosity, and curiosity invites connection. The question creates the environment. Every question you ask out loud or silently sets the emotional tone for how you show up with yourself and with others. Your brain is like a search engine. Whatever you type into it, it delivers results. Ask it negative questions, and you'll get negative stories. Ask it powerful questions, and you'll get creative solutions. The secret is to make empowering questions a habit. Don't wait for a crisis. Condition your mind every morning. Ask yourself questions like, what am I proud of today? What am I excited about? Who do I love? What can I do today to grow? These aren't just nice words, they're tools that wire your emotional state and shape your future. Your emotional life is not random. It's driven by patterns, and one of the most powerful patterns you can build is the habit of asking better questions. Giving joy is the fastest way to feel joy. Most people chase happiness like it's something to acquire, something to get, achieve, or possess. But joy isn't something you hold in your hands. It's something you give from your heart. And the moment you shift your focus from what you lack to what you can give, you tap into a deeper, more lasting kind of fulfillment. It's the kind of joy that doesn't depend on your mood, your bank account, or your situation. It comes from contribution, from being a source of light in someone else's day. When you make someone smile, your brain lights up. When you lift someone up, you rise with them. Human beings are wired for connection. Our greatest emotional needs are not met by taking, they're met by giving. And not just material things, but energy, presence, encouragement, love. Giving joy means you show up with the intention to serve, to uplift, to energize the people around you. You become the thermostat, not the thermometer. You set the emotional tone. You influence the room instead of being influenced by it. You don't need money to give joy. You don't need a title, a platform, or a reason. You just need the awareness to see someone, the kindness to care, and the courage to act. It could be a sincere compliment, a helping hand, a few minutes of your time, a message of encouragement, a warm smile when someone is feeling invisible. These moments may seem small, but their emotional impact is massive, and they don't just impact others, they reflect right back to you. The human spirit is fueled by purpose, and the quickest way to access purpose is through contribution. When you give, you step outside the loop of self. You break the pattern of overthinking, comparison, and scarcity. You stop asking, what's wrong with me? And start asking, what can I give? That question rewires your emotional system. It brings gratitude, perspective, and meaning into focus. It activates your higher self. There's a unique kind of joy that only comes from seeing someone else light up because of something you did for them. Whether it's a child laughing because of your attention, a friend who feels heard because you listened deeply, or a stranger whose day you changed with your kindness, those moments create emotional deposits in your soul. They remind you that your life matters, that your presence counts, that you don't have to fix everything to make a difference, you just have to show up with heart. Joy grows when it flows. If you hold it in, if you wait for the perfect time, if you measure what others deserve, you block the very thing you want more of. But when you let it move through you freely, when you make giving your default, it multiplies. You may begin the day feeling tired, uncertain, or even frustrated. But the moment you do something kind for someone else, your energy changes, your mood shifts, you reconnect to your own strength and abundance. Giving joy also deepens relationships. People don't remember what you had, they remember how you made them feel. If you consistently bring joy into your interactions, people begin to associate your presence with warmth, support, and upliftment. That creates trust, that builds loyalty, that opens doors not just in your personal life, but in your professional life too. People want to be around those who raise their state, and the beautiful thing is, the more you give it, the more you become it. You don't need to wait until everything is perfect in your own life to start giving joy. In fact, giving when things are imperfect is even more powerful. It reminds you that no matter what's going on, you still have something to offer. You still have value. You still have power.